Welcome to Everything Explained. I'm your host, and today we tackle a big question about Sicily and its most famous resident, the Mafia. People often ask if Sicilian institutions managed to eliminate the Mafia. The honest answer is more nuanced. They didn't wipe it out, but they did change the game so the Mafia lost its grip on power in many parts of the island. In this episode, we'll walk through the turning points, the tools the state used, and what remains today. We'll keep it clear and practical, with simple language and concrete examples you can picture. Let's dive in. Investigative revolution first, the investigative revolution. In the 1980s, investigators stopped treating mafia cases as isolated crimes and started treating them as a network to break. Judge Rocco Chinichi created a new kind of team in Palermo, inviting younger prosecutors like Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino to join. They built an anti-mafia pool that shared information, coordinated actions, and targeted leaders as well as foot soldiers. A turning point came when Tommaso Buscetta, a former boss, turned informant in 1984. He exposed the mafia's internal rules, the cupola that ruled the family from the inside, and the routes money took to buy silence and violence. With that inside map, prosecutors could build the Maxi trial, a single, massive case that brought down many defendants and exposed how the organization really worked. The trial didn't just convict people, it sent a clear message: the state had a sustained, coordinated way to go after the mafia. Legal and financial crackdown second, the legal and financial blow. Lawmakers changed the rules so that being part of mafia life could be punished on that basis alone, not just for a single crime. The anti-mafia framework allowed prosecutors to seize and confiscate assets tied to crime, cutting off the financial lifelines that kept violence going. The law also expanded the use of witness protection and incentives for those who cooperated with authorities. At the same time, police, customs, and financial investigators began to work together across borders, because crime money moves across cities and even oceans. When Toto Riina, the most feared capo, was arrested in 1993, it showed that even the most entrenched networks could be disrupted. The regime known as 41 bis, a strict prison system, kept the top bosses from running operations from behind bars, further squeezing their power. And yes, these tools came with risks. Cooperation relied on trust, and prosecutions could be long and complex, but they changed the balance of power. Civil society and the long shadow third, civil society and the long shadow. The mafia's power thrived on fear and obedience, so a different approach mattered, ordinary people choosing not to participate. Civilians started to resist protection money, aided by networks like Libera and Adibizzo, which encouraged ethical consumer choices and business partnering. When assets were seized, some were turned into social projects, youth centers, schools, and jobs programs, so that communities could rebuild without mafia money. The press and prosecutors began telling stories that exposed corruption, and judges kept pushing for results. All of this didn't erase the presence of the mafia. It adapted. Some operations moved into legitimate businesses, some networks persisted in pockets of the countryside, and influence still leaked into politics and contracts. But the public mood had changed. People no longer saw the mafia as an inevitable fact of life, they saw it as a problem that could be confronted, and they supported tough action. That's why the Sicilian experiment matters beyond Sicily. It's a case study in how law, courage, and community can change a dangerous landscape. Conclusion: looking back, the Sicilian story isn't about a single victory. It's a long series of turning points: better investigations, sharper laws, asset seizures, witness protection, and a more active civil society. The institutions didn't magically erase the mafia, they eroded its power and changed the incentives that kept it alive. The result is not a clean exit but a durable containment that compels the mafia to operate in smaller shadows. The lesson for listeners everywhere is clear: durable change comes from brave, coordinated action across law, police, courts, and communities. If we want that kind of resilience in our own towns, we can borrow Sicily's playbook: courage, coordination, and a belief that safety and rule of law are worth defending every day. Thanks for listening to Everything Explained. Stay curious, keep asking questions, and remember that real strength comes from a community that refuses to look away.